Okay, hey fandom, we are back with a new show for you. Thanks for taking the time to join us once again. Today we're going to recap the Week 6 game of the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. I am joined by my fellow co-host, Cowboy Joe. We're going to discuss the game and we're going to talk about what happened and kind of hash things out. Cowboy Joe, how are you? Especially after that Cowboys loss.
Man, look, the Cowboys made me sick. Panthers, were upset. I'll be honest. And feeling under the weather altogether ties into a bad week for Cowboy Joe.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about Cowboy stuff later, but let's get to the game. I do want to go over the recap, of course.
Disappointing loss, though. It was. I thought they had momentum, and right now, I hope they could bounce back from this, but it was disappointing to see that.
Yeah, look, going over my recap and my quick reactions, I was disappointed by the loss. There were, as I said here, several missed opportunities. There were 3 turnovers. They struggled to convert when it counted. I think that's a big thing. The red zone, they failed to convert in the red zone. They had 1 touchdown. And on third down, they were 3 for 13. So that didn't help. And, I don't have anything mentioned here, but as far as the drives are concerned, Carolina had 11 drives. Chicago had 11 drives, and Chicago just did more with it than what Carolina did. And I also want to just say that the field position for what Carolina had, out of those 11 drives, 6 of those drives started on their own 20-yard line or less, right?
Yep.
Chicago didn't have any that were inside their 20. So, that says a lot. Panthers are doing lots of touchbacks. They're starting at the 25. There were turnovers. There were just, couldn't really move the ball that much. So, it's just stuff that I'm recognizing. Now, I do want to say this, and 2 cents here as well, but they've got a 3-3 record right now, and this is a rebuilding team. That's not too bad. What we've already seen here, the future is promising. Chicago has allowed 9 touchdowns in 6 games, which is the fewest in the league. I kind of look at this game, even though they lost, it's kind of like a more of like a humbling experience rather than disappointment. Did you kind of get that feel as well? Were we kind of counting our playoff tickets before they occurred here, or what's your take?
I think we're aligned on that thinking and that mindset. And just know these kids are young. They still have a lot of football left in them. They're still learning how to play in the NFL. I think this team, this is a step forward. They kept up. Yes, the turnovers, the red zone issues, but this is just a learning game. This is how you learn. This is how you go ahead and get adjusted for the upcoming game. And 3-3. Let's just put it this way. That division is not a very strong division right now either. Just like the NFC East is not a strong division, 3-3, you're still in it. So could we say a playoff team yet? And I can't say that yet until I see at least 2-3 more games. But they were in it in most of those games. The losses, they were in it. Las Vegas, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, it's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's going to do Tom Brady stuff. Yeah. That's what he did to Aaron Rodgers. So he discount double checked him. So
yeah,
it's still a learning process for the Panthers. It's a rebuilding year. That's what everybody deemed it as, the Trevor Lawrence hunt. But that's the Jets' position now. Right now, this team is saying, you know what? We have an identity. We want to use it. We want to not be a rebuilding team. We want to go ahead and be a contender or try to be at least in a 500 team.
Yeah, and you see the graphic here on the screen. The fact that they're 3-3 against these teams, 4 of these teams could be playoff teams.
Yes,
which says a lot. And as far as the red zone struggles are concerned, I think maybe that improves when Christian McCaffrey returns. Not only they can use his ability, but they can also use him as a decoy too, and try to make some progress out of this play.
McCaffrey at the same time. One's a decoy, one's the one. And you know what? Right now, teams are game planning for Davis. So I think it's going to be a good comeback for Christian McCaffrey because he's going to have some time that he's not going to be the decoy. He's going to be the go-to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so let's talk about this game. How did this all unfold? One of the first things that happened in the entire game was a sack followed by an interception on the first drive. They couldn't get anywhere. They opened the ball up to Chicago on the 7-yard line. And you know what? The defense actually looked pretty good there. They nearly forced a field goal, but it was a perfect pass from Nick Foles to rookie tight end Cole Kmet that resulted in a touchdown. I mean, that was in double coverage. But still, that's a hard way to open up the game. Your thoughts on that? I mean, how can that affect a team when
it's demoralizing? It demoralizes the whole team as a unit. Go down and just throw that pick. It really does demoralize everybody, and I think that's affected the Panthers a little bit. It was in their head. It was in Bridgewater's head. So
yeah, I mean, they just started off,
they started off
going
cold,
uphill,
and then they just needed to catch up after that.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to mention too, Carolina, as I said, they were 3 for 13 on third down, and missing in this game was Curtis Samuel, who was out with a knee injury. Now it's not expected to be a fairly serious injury. So we're thinking that he'll probably be back next week. However, I don't know if you knew this, but Curtis Samuel was tied with your boy, CeeDee Lamb, for the most third down receptions in the league heading into this game.
Curtis Samuel was a big key to the Panthers' third down progress. Yeah. Him missing this game affected the team. Also going down. So there was a lot of X factors that we could say helped the Panthers beat themselves, but they need to adjust. And if Curtis Samuel does not come back next week, or he's still out for another week, I think they need to start thinking, okay, you know what, Anderson, we got more. Let's use these guys. Slat patterns, something has to change.
And use the tight end more than just as a blocker, So that would help. Yes. They allowed Chicago 7 of 14 on third down. Generally, if you are an offense, you want to have a 50% chance, a 50% conversion rate on third down, and Chicago got that, and Carolina gave it to them. So that was a key stat there. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I think it was a mix of all this coming, and then I think honestly they were riding a good momentum. This was, in my opinion, is a good thing that happened. I know a loss is not a good thing. Trust me, I'm a Cowboy fan. I know what loss is, but a loss to get their head clear and realign and readjust was needed. Yeah,
and we can't. We kind of chuckle when we say the term missed opportunities, because that's something that Ron Rivera used to say all the time, but it's so true. And the opportunities in this game that were missed. I mean, DJ Moore had some key drops. I mean, the one on 4th and 2, which we'll get to, and the one that you saw at the beginning of the show, the video, that was. It's hard to really classify that as a drop. It was just, in my opinion, I think that Bridgewater just didn't have a good enough pass to him, but he almost made that play, but yet he didn't. And he also had an opportunity to score on 3rd and goal, which would have made the score 10-10, which would have, completely said, all right, we'll give you this interception and this touchdown to begin the game, but you know what? Here we come, marching back, and they couldn't quite seal the deal there. So, that was big. I mean, Trey Boston missed an interception at the end of the half that would have given the Panthers the ball. It would have negated the Chicago field goal, 55-yard field goal, by the way. Personal best by the kicker, Cairo Santos. Of course he gets it. His longest ever. And, that made the score 13-6 at the half. It's just, you hate to talk about these things, but you have to, because this is kind of how the game unfolded.
Don't think that they're not going over this in film. They're going through all what you're talking about through film right now and saying, hey, Trey, you could have had that interception. What's wrong? How'd you drop this ball? How did we go down on 3rd and goal? How we didn't score? And this is all going through film right now. They're going through this, and these kids are very smart, and they will adjust. I'm telling you, they're gonna adjust. Right now, it's a learning curve. Everybody deems them as a rebuild. I don't deem the Panthers as a rebuild. I deem this team as a good playoff contender.
Well, we're going to find out for sure, aren't we? I mean, they've had some pretty decent games already against some would-be playoff teams. So, we'll see. So after the half, what happened? Panthers were down 13-6 at the half. Joey Sly missed a field goal, a 54-yard field goal in the third quarter. That would have made it 13-9. The missed field goal resulted in a shorter field for Chicago. I talked about that earlier, where their field position, where they started. The drive ended in Nick Foles with a quarterback sneak for a touchdown. Chicago was up 20-6, and then Carolina scores on the next possession. If you remember that possession, there was that interference call, which I also was kind of shocked about. That interference call on DJ Moore. You remember the play?
Man, let me tell you something. There was a lot of missed calls this weekend. A lot. These refs are taking it. I don't know if they decided to take a week off, but there was a lot of missed calls, a lot, and I've seen at least 3 in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, this call was in the Panthers' favor, but yeah, I mean that still was sort of a questionable call. But hey, we'll take it, right?
Exactly, we'll take it. But the thing is, do you really want to win a game like that?
Right? No, you want to win it on the field, in the trenches. You want to win your individual battle so you can win the war. And I mean, I get that. And we're kind of going over these scenarios here now about, what happened, but also how close they were. I mean, they had 3 turnovers. Granted, one was on the absolute last possession of the game. They had 3 turnovers that they needed to overcome, and they did. They were close.
Yes,
this was a close game at the end. Where am I getting at here? The rest of these plays, Chicago kicks a field goal. They're up by 10. There was a key 3rd and 9 conversion to Allen Robinson that led to sustaining the drive and just allowing teams. We talked about this before. 50% on 3rd down is what they allowed. If you allow teams to convert on 3rd down, it's just going to come back to bite you. That's how drives get sustained, and that's how scores happen. And we saw it. So that's an area of improvement, and which we'll get to here a little bit later in the show. But stopping the opponent on 3rd down is key. And they did a good job as far as the run defense is concerned. But that 3rd down conversion it wasn't working. And then Carolina had the chance to move the ball. They had the 38-yard pass to DJ Moore, nice play down the sideline, but the drive stalled. 2 straight incompletions, followed by a sack. You can't have sustained drives that way. And again, that it's just kind of a microcosm of all these different plays was the result of this game. But any one of these, if it goes the opposite way, we could be talking about a chain reaction of positive things rather than a negative thing. So that kind of shows you how close this game was.
And you're calling it a perfect play, the 4th and 2. From Teddy Bridgewater. Honestly, 4th and 2, yes, a pass is 2 yards or long 2 yards, but still, I think you have a big back in Mike Davis. Pound the middle, dude. You should have pounded the middle like the old gridiron days of the 80s, that you're going in there and smacking a defender's mouth right through, because I'm getting that 1st down.
Remember the previous week, it was Curtis Samuel who on 3rd and 2 in a key situation like that received the carry, and he gained like 17 yards on that play. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It was a great play call. I love the play call. It didn't necessarily love the execution.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was open. He was open. If that's a good throw, that's a touchdown. And we're talking about a tie game right there.
Exactly. No, the Panthers in this game kept it close. As much as they were turning it over, they kept it close. As much as they weren't in sync on offense and defense, they kept it close. And what I like is that the defense started rallying back again. Started stopping them, hey, let's force this now. Let's get this back on the offense's hand. And unfortunately, the offense stalled a little bit longer than it come together.
Right. And they had the opportunity again. They even stopped them again and forced an incompletion, which I was surprised to see Chicago throw a pass, trying to kill the clock, but whatever.
Well, they wanted isolated. They wanted that first down to just run it down.
Yeah, and the Panthers of last year, of Ron Rivera, they probably don't even have 3 timeouts at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's a step in the right direction. I mean, that's
Riverboat Ron was a gambler, dude.
Yeah, well, yeah, and as far as clock management is concerned, I mean, as far as the rule regime that we've seen so far, I know it's kind of limited, But so far, I like it. They're having these timeouts later in the game when they need them. If they didn't, this game would have been over sooner. So, that's, kind of going over the key plays and what exactly happened in the game. I just kind of wanted to showcase that. But what stood out? Let's talk about the good things here, too. What stood out? They held Chicago to 63 yards rushing and less than 200 yards passing, right? That's excellent. That was a key improvement that we were looking for last week was their run defense, and they did well.
They stepped up.
They stepped up, and 200 yards passing. Nick Foles isn't necessarily someone who's going to win games with his arm. He's like the perfect quarterback in that Bears system because
he's a game controller. That's all it is. He controls.
Yeah, he's in control, right? And he's trying not to force errors.
He's not going to take a big chance of 50-yard touchdown pass or anything like that. He's going to keep it simple and keep those little 10 to 15 post routes in there, and that's it. And that's how you manage the game.
Yeah, and another thing, too, the Panthers they were sacked 4 times, and they had 0 sacks of their own, and they still only have 5 sacks this season, which is tied for, I think it was Jacksonville, I think.
Still a young season.
What's that?
Still a young season, so.
Yeah, but still, shoot.
Look, I'm a defensive coordinator, 63 yards rushing for the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 200 yards passing, that's a good day. I don't care about your sacks. I don't care about your stats. As long as we keep them down and keep us close to the game that our offense could win it for us, I'm happy. Yeah. If I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm happy. Yes, there's some things that I need to work on, but I'm happy overall on how the Panthers played defensively.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But it's still you want to get that win. You want to have good positive plays rather than negative ones. But
I play defense, and it was basically I was taught to put the win in the hands of the offense. If we could give it to them so they could win it for us, that's key. And Carolina did that twice.
Yeah,
and they came up with big goose eggs on both. So
that's right.
That's how defensive players are taught. Yes, we could go out for a pick. We could be that Broncos defense that came and turned over everything when Peyton Manning was throwing the ball. But it wasn't that. It was let's manage the game, keep them into a punt situation, and get the ball back to our offense, which they need to win us. That's the whole point. Offense is offense. They need to win the game for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and they could have, and they have the players to do it. It's just that like you said, they're a young team. They're growing. They're learning. They're realizing what happens when you make a mistake. That kind of thing. But I think we should be happy, thrilled, proud, and excited. For the future. I want to see their red zone improve, though. Chicago was first in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. And it showed. That's huge, right? We know that the Panthers kind of struggle in the red zone. We knew that the Bears were excellent in the red zone defensively. Something was going to have to, there was a battle there, and Chicago unfortunately won that battle.
Yeah. That defense is beast. Khalil Mack is holding that defense down.
Yeah. Yeah, and Akeem Hicks, too. And was it Kyle Fuller as well? There's lots of different players who are making. Eddie Jackson had a good game. So areas to work on. This is what I've kind of pinpointed as far as areas to work on. Third down defense. I already said that. 50.8% conversion on the year, right? Not just this past game, but the year, which if you're allowing your opponent to get a first down on third down,
hurts.
50% of the time, that's not good. 48 missed tackles. That's third most in the league. That's an area to improve. They need to improve their red zone percentage. I already talked about when McCaffrey comes back, he gives you options. Hopefully that improves. 47.8 touchdown percentage in the red zone. That's 5th lowest next to the Jets, Giants, Broncos, and Bengals.
And that's not the company you want to keep in the red zone percentage. You don't want to be in that percentage, that group.
No, right. And then the other thing, too, is quarterback pressure. We know they're not getting sacks. They have 5 sacks, 34 pressures. And their pressure percentage, 14.7, is only Detroit has a lower pressure percentage. Now, are they trying to keep more people back, in coverage and have like 8-9 people in the secondary? They could, right? I mean, we've seen that. It's not necessarily it's not their base defense, but they're not blitzing. But you know what I've seen when they do blitz, it seems like they're effective. Maybe that needs to switch up a little bit. I mean, I'm not Phil Snow, but that's something I think that we need to work on. All three of these areas we need to work on. Last week it was run defense, and guess what? They improved. So, like you said, this is kind of what they're talking about in their meetings, and hopefully we see the results after. What do we have for as far as injury notes and news? Well, Justin Burris, he's got the rib injury. He was put on IR. Curtis Samuel has the knee injury. Again, it's not supposed to be serious. Hopefully he'll be back.
We'll get some updates today on that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the big thing here is Christian McCaffrey, right? Possibly a week 8 return. The reason why he may not come back this coming week is because the Panthers in week 8 play on Thursday against Atlanta here in Carolina. So that would be a kind of a short week. But, yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. Yes, there are some injuries to the team. But, I mean, some of these teams, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants have some pretty bad injuries. The 49ers have some pretty bad injuries. I would say that this is actually pretty mild, wouldn't you?
Oh, beyond mild. This is just, this is beyond mild. The one that I really want to see back, besides Christian McCaffrey and Curtis Samuels, is Eli Apple. Even though everybody says he's a suspect to the long passes, I think he's a good cover corner. He's still young, he's still learning, but I think his size alone and his tenacity to play the game is what I like about him. I admire that kid so well because he doesn't give up on any play. He chases it down even if he gets beat.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, his veteran leadership too would always help.
Yes.
I heard that the Panthers signed from the practice squad Kenny Robinson, the safety that they drafted. What was it? Maybe the 5th, 6th round in the draft. This is the guy who played in the XFL, who had some pretty good outings. I kind of liked him coming into the season. When he went on the practice squad, I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed, but just, maybe I was trying to think that he could do more too soon. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
I think it's basically they signed them because they're afraid that the Cowboys, since they're looking for corner help, secondary help, they're taking anybody right now.
Oh, wow.
I mean, even go in there and sign up as a cornerback. And
you might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. All right. Hey, so looking ahead to next week, what do we got? We've got the Saints in New Orleans. 3-2 New Orleans. They're going to be coming off their bye. Michael Thomas is returning. He had that ankle injury, the high ankle sprain. It seems like everyone's having high ankle sprains. You don't hear too much of the low ankle sprains that much. But Thomas is returning. Here's the thing. This is a huge stat. The Saints have allowed 17 touchdowns on 20 red zone visits this year. So if you're an opponent, you get into the Saints red zone, there's an 85% chance that you're going to score a touchdown.
Could we say we work on our red zones during the New Orleans game? Work on our percentage there, or
hopefully that's a get right game for the red zone percentage and Teddy Bridgewater and Joe Brady and his ability. I mean,
it's Bridgewater returning home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point there.
So
excellent point. And Joe Brady for that matter too.
Breeze and show him that I'm a number one.
That's right. And we've seen Brady have success in the red zone before with LSU. I mean, that was pretty much his bread and butter was the red zone. So I want to see what he can do to kind of execute for Teddy Bridgewater in this game. And the fact that the Saints have allowed so many touchdowns, 17 on 20 visits to the red zone. I mean, we're talking, wow, that's a lot. So hopefully they can convert there. But any other thoughts about the Saints coming up?
It's a test. This is going to be a test. How fast can we bounce back from a loss that we had the possibility of winning? That's number one. The other thing is how effective is our offense now with a team and a defense like the New Orleans Saints is. They're wishy-washy sometimes, but when they play, they play. And Which New Orleans defense is going to step up this week? Is it going to be the wishy-washy ones, or is it going to be the one that's like, in your face all the time? And the other thing I want to see is Bridgewater. His demeanor, his attitude towards the game. Does he have something to prove to New Orleans, or is he saying, I'm bringing my Carolina Panthers to your house and we're going to beat you here? This is something that is going to be key because remember, Bridgewater signed 2 years with them. Mm-hmm. He even opted out of Miami to be a starter in Miami to stay with New Orleans. And they still showed him that disrespect and not signing him back or even offering him because Breeze wanted to come back. So I think this is something to say, hey, you made the wrong choice. I'm the quarterback. And I hope he does it. I hope he proves New Orleans because you know what? I hate New Orleans. I'm just going to say it.
Hey, they went on the road and beat Atlanta in Atlanta, right? I mean, it's since 2014, their last win there.
Well, come on, really? Anybody could beat Atlanta right now. I could go in there and play by myself and beat Atlanta.
Hey, we're talking about a team who's given up 17 touchdowns and 20 red zone visits.
That's what I'm saying. The wishy-washy defense. Let's see which one shows up. And I'm hoping the wishy-washy defense shows up and says, you know what? Yeah, we're going to allow another 5 touchdowns in, So we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, we will see. That's definitely one thing. I mean, I'm looking forward to the game.
I'm calling a prediction, 24-17 Panthers.
All right. I like it. I'm with you. I stand by that. Sounds good to me. Of course, we'll be here to talk about it. I'm going to give you a little bit of chance to vent, I guess, maybe if you will, about your Cowboys, about Dak Prescott, about Andy Dalton. I know this is a Carolina show, but hey, we sort of have to talk a little bit about this, right? Because it's an
implosion of talented players not doing what they want to do. Not getting paid to just sit there or stand there or walk around the whole field. That's what I saw. This line, my 10-year-old could break this offensive line, and sack Dalton. Dalton gets touched and he drops on the floor. Is it coaching? Is it talent? Is it unpreparedness? What do you think? It's laziness from the talent and it's laziness from the coaches. Mike needs to step up a little bit. I'm sorry. I called you Mark because I don't even really know you anymore. When you were in the Packers, you were amazing. You would get in people's faces. Right now, you're just standing there like Garrett. You're a Garrett right now. And Jerry Jones, I'm sorry. You're keeping this up, this team like this? Really? Somebody needs to be traded. Ezekiel Elliott, 2 fumbles. You never fumbled twice back-to-back, and you go and do it. And you say it's on me. Really? And I'm sorry. It's sad to be a Cowboy fan right now. And I'm sick and tired of watching Stephen A. Smith laugh at the Cowboys. I want to smack that dude in the mouth with a win or a Super Bowl title on his face. But we can't do that right now. You barely used Cooper. In the first half, didn't even use Cooper out. I'm glad I had no internet that day. Because I would have broken my TV. Could I say heart? I could say heart. The heart of that team is nowhere there. There's no heart. Defense, there's nobody that could put it all on them. There's no heart. I thought, I was looking at the plays and I looked at some highlights and I'm like, wait, the first half didn't look that bad. The defense was playing pretty good. Getting to Kyler Murray, but then once Zeke fumbled twice, that whole team just gave up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they just threw in the towel and said, you know what, we'll wait till next week. How are you going to go? How do you have as a player? I'm sorry. I played and I've seen this stuff. I cannot go face person that I said I'm going to win, face them and tweet, say, hey, we'll get them next time. What kind of BS is that? No, it's not. You'll get them next time because you got embarrassed this time. So, yes, I do apologize, fandom, but Cowboys are causing me stress and aches. Well, but I'm still cheering for you guys.
There you go. And we will find out how things go against the Saints. Hopefully there's some good news to report at this time next week. All right, let's tie a bow on this show. Any parting thoughts for you?
I think that this week was just a little smack in the mouth for the Panthers. They'll get back. They'll pick it up and go back. I said 24-17. I stand by it. Go Panthers. And for the other team that I love, I guess we'll wait till next year. That's all I can say for that. But my parting thought is Panthers are in the right frame of mind. They're in the right track. It's not a rebuild, so Panther fans, stop thinking that.
All right, well, sounds good. And fandom, thanks so much for watching us. And you give us that like, that subscribe. Feel free to comment on our show. If you're you want to comment on Cowboy Joe and his rant, feel free. But we appreciate that. So thank you so much for Cowboy Joe. I am Jeff Hasley, and we will see you next week with the recap of the Panthers and Saints. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.